Are you ready? I've been waiting 8 months. Are you ready? Let's light this candle. Welcome back to the Carriker Chronicles, the People Show. Check the Pulse of Husker Nation, brought to you by DPS Concrete Construction, your local concrete experts. Check them out at dpsconstruction.net. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're as excited for the return of the Carriker Chronicles as I am, smash that like button. If you're excited for the interview today with Prince Amukamara, the one I got coming up in a couple days with Rhule or Tom Osborne, smash that like button. But real quick, I want to give a shout out to my wife Angie, Ashley Spitznagel, and Andrea Schroeder for coming up with this, hopefully, pretty cool banner that y'all see behind me. So hopefully y'all enjoy. I want to give a shout out to them. But today, I want to get to our very special guest. I don't see this man do a lot of interviews. My first two guests, Prince, Roy, Husker legends, no doubt. But I wanted to bring on guys who don't do a lot of interviews and chat with them. So I'm looking forward to this one. So we got a former Super Bowl champion, unanimous All-American, two-time first-team All-Big 12 performer, and a Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year, Mr. Prince Amukamara. How you doing, my friend?
Man, that's an awesome intro, man. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm glorious, man, and I'm excited. This is the inaugural Carriker Chronicles show coming back on its own after 8 freaking months. I'm pumped, but I want to start asking you questions, because here's one of the questions that popped into my mind immediately after you and I texted. You said you were going to come on the show. That 09 Nebraska defense. I mean, you can argue it's absolutely one of the best ever. You could argue it's potentially the best ever, but just some of the stats. Okay, you guys gave up an average of 10.4 points per game, number one in the nation that year. Just for comparison, the 3 national championship teams in the 90s, awesome defenses. But 97, they gave up 16.5 points per game, 95, 13.6 points per game, and 94, 12.5 points per game. So, phenomenal defenses, but just by comparison, your guys' stats was awesome. What made that 09 defense for the Huskers so good?
Man, I mean, obviously, Suh is what made us go, and Suh just led the way, and the way he approached the game and approached practice, I think that really just showed guys on the defensive side of the tone that was going to be set, and we really just rallied behind him. I mean, he plays the game unlike anybody other, with like just how tenacious. And he definitely made our jobs in the back end a lot easier. And not to discredit our guys in the back end, the DBs, I feel like we made his job easier also. And you know how it works with the D-line and DBs. We work hand in hand. The D-line rushes, and it cuts our time in covering. And on the back end, if we do a good job in locking down our guys, it's going to enable the D-line to get to the quarterback faster.
That makes a lot of sense. But here, man, I like to ask the tough questions, the hard-hitting questions. Are you ready for this one?
Of course.
Should there have been 1 second put back on the clock versus Texas in that championship game?
Yes, and what's funny is because I got to know Colt McCoy for a little bit, and the thing is, I did not know going to Nebraska. I didn't know how big that rivalry was. I didn't know really anything about UT, and you know, just the politics of the game. I'm not saying that the game of football is rigged at all. However, I do believe that there are calls that can go favor a team just for financial gain. So, it would make sense for, you know, Texas to what's that called, to get that extra second, because they went to the national championship right after that, right?
Played Alabama, yep.
Exactly. And so, I mean, us beating them, and I think we would have went to the Fiesta Bowl or something. It wouldn't be, wouldn't be as great for the Big 12 and stuff like that. But no way should there have been a second left on that clock. And but still, I mean, that was a great game. And the thing is, because I didn't know just the level of heighten of how big that game was. I wasn't moved by by how big of a game it was. But looking back now and rewatching it, I'm like, man, that was a big game,
Yep.
man. It's the Big 12 National Championship. It's in Jerry's world, and we're playing against UT, and UT's one of the best. But I feel like everyone on our defense, like we weren't really moved by the moment. We've been destroying fools all year, and it was just another game to us.
Now, in 2007, after you arrived on campus, you actually contemplated playing basketball as well as football for a short time. Okay, and there was a chance you were going to play running back for a while. Obviously, cornerback worked out pretty well for you. But here's my question. Not long after you arrived on campus, former Husker linebacker Corey McEwen, who was a pup when I was a vet there, but he was a veteran when you first came in, he described you as a newcomer with a lot of personality. All right, so my question for you is, who's a former Husker or former Husker teammate that you know that has a lot of personality?
Man, dude, we had tons of guys. I mean, Roy.
Yes.
We had a guy by the name of Brandon Kenny. We called him a BK. Even Lyden Murtha.
Yep.
Lyden Murtha. Niles Paul. It's crazy because you know how it is in that locker room. It's just like it'll bring, like, it's like it can become infectious. Like guys who might not really talk, but because of the music and guys opening up, it's guys just come out of their shell. So I mean, a lot of stories come through my head, especially big Murtha, even Sloss Daddy, like all these guys really showed personality. And then and McEwen, I'm trying to think what did I do to make an impression on him.
You know what I remember about Corey? He used to walk around like he was killing ants. Like he would just like really extra push hard into the ground. Lyden, he was young when I got there. That is one of the most interesting people I've ever been around.
Yes.
Roy Halou, I actually interviewed him on Tuesday, and there's a naked foam rolling story I'm going to ask him about when he was in the DC locker room.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. You got any stories you want to share, man? Anything that comes to mind?
Man, yes, you know what? There was so we had brought boxing gloves into the locker room, and so like guys were just going at it with boxing gloves, and I know that there's a video. So Will Compton, I don't know if he's gonna release it, but I know he has a video of I think it was either me and Sue boxed and stuff like that. And I'm not going to say who won. I mean,
I was going to ask
who won, but it was pretty interesting. It was pretty fun.
All right, I like that. That's a lot of fun. That's fun stuff right there. Now, there's a lot of emphasis put on recruiting, and rightfully so. Our new head coach here at the University of Nebraska, Matt Rhule, prides himself on finding diamonds in the rough and then developing them, and even getting them to the NFL and to the pros. Now, you're a guy who was a 3-star recruit in high school, and you turned yourself into a first-round draft pick. Okay. What was the biggest key for you being able to do that?
I would say number one, Dobson. James Dobson, our strength coach. So when a new coach comes in, they have like their pillars, right? Whether it's discipline, loyalty, commitment, la da da da. One of Coach Bo's was compete in everything you do, and so Coach Dobson carried that out, and we saw those in the drills in the weightlifting room. And so just competing, like in whether it's a lift, whether it's a race, like everything was just competing, and that really drove home in me. And so even though I came for running back, but now I'm at a new position, it's like compete. Like it doesn't matter. I'm experiencing a little bit of adversity. It's like the same approach that I had at running back. Take it to the DB position. So it was just competing, and I really learned the position. I watched guys like Joe Hayden. I was able to watch his tape. There was a DB out of Oklahoma by the name of Brian Jackson, and I was trying to learn how to play the DB position just because I'd never played it before. And then so one game I think really like encouraged me the most and kind of put me on the map was that Oklahoma game at home. And Landry Jones threw a route. I intercepted it, and right before I scored, my guy Philip Dillard takes me out. But I think that game is when, wow, like I got something here, and I just rolled with it.
Nice. I was actually at that game. I remember watching it. That was a pretty cool, fun game to watch. Now, I want to give the folks at home a heads up. August 15th, 2 weeks from today, we will be launching the website, carrikerchronicles.com. There's going to be a plethora of stuff. Again, just a fun word to say. I love to say it a plethora of times. All right, we're going to have merchandise. You can check out all the Carriker Chronicles, the Big Ten show with my co-host Jeff Turn, where the H is silent, that I'm doing. We got 93.7 The Ticket. We got the highlight tapes I've been posting throughout the summer. If you missed them, go check it out. I'm going to have Carriker's crew, where Ashley Spitznagel is going to put up her art. John Johnston, who is not boring, going to be putting up his videos. Connor Hayden from Corn Craze is going to be putting up his stuff. August 15th, 2 weeks from today, ladies and gentlemen. All right, Prince, I got one last question for you, and it's a two-parter. All right, will Nebraska beat Colorado this year? And what will Nebraska's final record be? Just a way too early win-loss prediction record for you, if you don't mind.
How many games does Nebraska have, sorry?
We'll have 12, and then hopefully a bowl game, if not more, but hopefully a bowl game too. But at least 12.
Yeah. I mean, I really, really love and respect Coach Matt Rhule. I mean, we have rapport. Back in my Giant days, he was, I think he was a defensive assistant there, and I remember coaches would go up and give presentations, and you can just always tell that Coach Rhule was going to be a head coach at a high level, just because the respect that he demands when he goes up and speaks and stuff like that. You can tell players really buy in. So I know he's going to have this team rolling. I would say they're definitely going to go above 500, and I would say 8-4.
I like it.
I would say 8-4, and then I think we will 100% beat Colorado. I mean, and I mean, anything can happen. I mean, Deion's done some amazing things with programs, but I mean, they were 1-12 last year, or they were 1 whatever last year, and they haven't won. I mean, I know they do have a new recruiting class and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, we're Nebraska and they're Colorado. So I really think that Matt Rhule's going to have the guys fired up, and we're just going to play tough. We're coming back to that Nebraska defense. And I know my answers are long-winded, but it's so funny. This last thing I was rocking my Nebraska shirt yesterday, and I'm out here in Arizona, and a Big Red fan said, "Big Red's not dead." And I'm like, man, I love that. Like we're we're not dead. I know we've had some tough years, but we're not dead. And I think we're going to see that this year.
Dude, my favorite quote from all the interviews I've done so far: at the end of the day, we're in Nebraska and they're Colorado. That is the quote of the day right there, man. I love that one. I want to thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. Husker Nation, I'm so happy to be back with the Carriker Chronicles. Tune in for my next interview, which is Rhule, then Tom Osborne. And coming up down the road, I'm going to have Tony White, the D coordinator, Marcus Satterfield, the offensive coordinator. I'm going to have the governor of Nebraska, Larry the Cable Guy, Rex Burkhead. I'm pumped. It's a studded cast of folks that were kind enough to join me along with Prince here on the Carriker Chronicles. So do me a favor, Husker Nation, all you fine folks at home, comment below. Let me know if you enjoyed this interview. Let me know if you love that quote. At the end of the day, we're Nebraska and they're Colorado just as much as I do. And also, let me know what questions you'd like me to ask my next two interviews, Rhule and Coach Tom Osborne. Until next time, go Big Red. And always remember,
throw them bows.
If you're a diesel mechanic, CDL driver, or concrete finisher looking for work in the Omaha metro area, DPS Construction is the employer for you. If you're a general contractor, building owner, or property manager looking for concrete repair or work done in the Omaha metro area, such as street paving, building floors, and parking lots, check out dpsconstruction.net.